Casinos make $261 billion per year, not because people are unlucky. Because the entire building is a psychological warfare machine designed to separate you from your money without you even realizing it's happening. And former dealers who've worked the floor for decades are finally talking about the tactics management trains them to use against you. Here are 9 tricks casinos use to keep you losing, exposed by the people who were paid to execute them. 1. The absence of clocks and windows, you lose track of time. They win. Walk into any major casino. Look around for a clock. There isn't one. Look for windows showing natural light. There aren't any. You came in at 2 p.m. You look up and it could be 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. You genuinely can't tell. Your internal sense of time degrades after about 90 minutes in a clockless environment. After 3 hours, most people have completely lost track of how long they've been gambling. What dealers say, I worked at Caesar's Palace for 7 years. Management explicitly told us never to tell customers what time it is unless they directly ask. Even then, we're trained to say, I'm not sure, but there's a clock by the restrooms, making them walk past 200 more slot machines to find out. People would sit at my table thinking they'd been there for an hour. It had been 4 hours. Their brains literally couldn't track time anymore. But here's the psychological mechanism. Without time anchors, your brain enters what researchers call flow state. You become absorbed in the immediate activity, the cards, the dice, the spinning wheel. Flow state is normally positive for focused work. In casinos, it's exploited to make you gamble longer than you intended. You came in planning to play for an hour. You walk out 6 hours later wondering where the time went. The counter set phone alarms every 30 minutes. Check how much you've won or lost. Seeing the numbers breaks the flow state and reminds you that time is passing and money is disappearing. 2. Free alcohol. Drunk players make terrible decisions and don't care. You sit down at a blackjack table. Within minutes, a cocktail server appears asking what you'd like to drink. The drinks are free, strong, and they keep coming. The casino is spending $8.12 per drink to keep you intoxicated. They're not being generous. They're making an investment. Research from MIT's Gambling Studies program found that alcohol consumption increases risk-taking behavior by 35% and impairs decision-making about probability and loss. Drunk people bet bigger, play longer, and ignore basic strategy they would normally follow sober. What dealers say? Management trained us to encourage drinking. Make sure your players stay happy. That meant keep the drinks flowing. We'd signal cocktail servers to prioritize our table if we had big bettors. I watched a guy lose $15,000 in 3 hours while downing vodka Red Bulls. Sober, he was a decent player. Drunk, he doubled down on 18 and split 10s. The alcohol cost the casino maybe $50. They made $15,000. But here's what casinos know that you don't. Alcohol doesn't just impair judgment, it reduces loss aversion. Sober people feel pain from losing $100. Drunk people feel less emotional impact from the same loss, so they keep betting. Studies show intoxicated gamblers are 40% more likely to chase losses rather than walk away. Additionally, alcohol slows your processing speed. Card counting becomes impossible. Basic blackjack strategy requires remembering when to hit, stand, split, or double down based on your cards and the dealer's up card. After 3 drinks, most people can't execute this consistently. You make mistakes. The house edge increases. You lose faster. The counter order water or coffee. If you must drink, set a 2-drink maximum before you start gambling. Once you hit that limit, switch to non-alcoholic drinks. The cocktail servers will still come around. Just order club soda with lime. Looks like a drink, keeps you sober. 3. Chips instead of cash. Your brain doesn't register losing plastic circles. You exchange $500 cash for chips. Suddenly, you're not betting $50 bills. You're betting 2 green circles. When you lose, You're not losing $50. Your brain processes these completely differently. This is called money abstraction. A 2017 behavioral economics study found that people spend 30 to 40% more when using credit cards versus cash because the psychological pain of loss decreases when payment is abstract. Casino chips take this further. They don't even have dollar symbols on them, just colors and numbers. What dealers say, I dealt craps for 8 years. Players would casually toss $500 chips on the table without flinching. Same people would hesitate to spend $50 cash on dinner. One guy was betting black chips, $100 each, like they were nothing. He lost $4,000 in 20 minutes. When he went to cash out and saw actual $100 bills, his face went white. Holy shit, I lost $4,000. He'd been losing plastic circles. But here's the deeper psychology. Casinos design chips to look like game pieces, not money. Bright colors, smooth texture, pleasant weight. They feel like Monopoly money. Your prefrontal cortex, the brain region that processes financial decisions, shows lower activation when gambling with chips versus cash. You're literally experiencing reduced loss aversion because your brain categorizes chips as game tokens rather than real money. The trap gets worse when you're winning. You bet $50 cash and win. The dealer gives you chips, not cash. Now your winnings are abstracted too. You're more likely to bet your winnings because they never felt like real money. They went straight from cash to chips without ever being yours as cash. $100, chip equals sign 2 hours of work. Make it visceral. Better yet, buy in for a specific amount and leave when those chips are gone. Don't let yourself think I'll just get more chips. That's the abstraction trap. 4. Near misses on slot machines. Your brain thinks you almost won. You're playing slots. The real spin. You get cherry lemon. So close. You almost hit the jackpot. Except you didn't. You lost. But your brain releases dopamine anyway because it perceived the outcome as almost winning rather than losing. This is called the near-miss effect. A 2009 study published in Neuron used fMRI scans on slot machine players and found that near misses activate the same brain regions as actual wins. Your ventral striatum, the reward center, lights up for cherry lemon almost as much as for cherry. Evolution wired your brain to learn from near success. Casinos exploit this to make losing feel like progress. What dealers say? I worked slots. The machines are programmed for near misses. Nevada Gaming Commission allows virtual stop-ins extra positions on digital reels that weight outcomes. The jackpot symbol appears more frequently than it actually pays. So you see it land on the first 2 reels all the time, missing on the third. The machine is literally designed to show you almost to keep you playing. But here's the mathematics of the scam. On a physical slot machine, each reel has an equal chance of landing on any symbol. On digital slots, which is all modern slots, reels are weighted. The jackpot symbol might appear 5 times on reel 1, 3 times on reel 2, and 1 time on reel 3. Your brain sees it frequently on the first reel and thinks this machine is about to pay. The machine is showing you stage 1 of winning more frequently to mask how rarely stage 3 happens. Your brain interprets the near miss as, I'm getting close. I should keep going. You're not getting close. Each spin is independent with fixed probability. But the near-miss design hijacks your pattern recognition instincts. The counter. Understand that slot outcomes are random and independent. A near miss doesn't mean the next spin will hit. If you're going to play slots, set a loss limit and walk away when you hit it, regardless of how close the last spin was. 5. Labyrinth casino layouts. You can't find the exit, so you keep walking past games. You want to leave. You walk toward where you think the exit is. You're deeper in the casino passing craps tables, slot banks, and poker rooms. The exit is marked, but the path to it winds through maximum gambling exposure. This is called maze design. Studies on casino architecture found that average casinos have 20% longer pathways to exits than necessary. The Bellagio's floor plan requires guests to pass an average of 137 slot machines to get from the hotel elevators to the exit. Every slot machine you pass is another chance to stop and play just one more spin. What dealers say, I dealt at the Venetian. New dealers got lost, trying to find the break room, and we worked there. You want the buffet? You're walking through the high-limit slots. You want the bathroom? You're passing 3 table game pits. Everything is designed to maximize exposure. Casinos use identical decor across different sections so you can't develop spatial memory. Every hallway looks the same. Every slot bank looks the same. Your hippocampus, the brain region for spatial navigation, can't create a mental map. You think you're walking toward the exit, but you're actually walking in a circle past the same games again. Landmarks are deliberately minimal. In normal buildings, you navigate by landmarks. Turn left at the fountain. Casinos minimize distinctive landmarks and maximize uniform design. When everything looks the same, you can't navigate by memory. You have to follow signs, and those signs route you past maximum gaming opportunities. The counter. When you enter, immediately locate all exits and memorize the path. Better yet, drop a pin on your phone's map. Follow the GPS rather than signage. The fastest route out is always the one that bypasses the most games. 6. Hot and cold machines. They don't exist, but everyone believes they do. You're walking through the slots. Someone wins a jackpot. A crowd gathers. People start playing nearby machines, thinking this area is hot, or you avoid machines that haven't paid recently because they're due to reset. Both thoughts are statistically false, but psychologically irresistible. The gambler's fallacy, the belief that past random events influence future random events. A 2012 study found that 87% of casino gamblers believe slot machines go through hot and cold cycles. They don't. Every spin is independent with fixed probability determined by the random number generator. What dealers say, players would ask me which machines were hot. I'd tell them it doesn't work that way. Every spin is random. They'd ignore me and play anyway. I watched people wait for machines because someone just won, thinking it's hot. The RNG generates thousands of numbers per second. The microsecond you hit the button determines the outcome. Timing from the last win is irrelevant. But here's why casinos don't correct this belief. If players understood that every spin is independent and the house edge is fixed, fewer people would play. The illusion of hot machines and being due for a win keeps people playing longer. Casinos benefit from statistical illiteracy. The mathematics are simple. If a slot has 96% RTP, return to player, you lose 4% of every bet on average. Forever. A machine that just paid a jackpot has the exact same odds as a machine that hasn't paid in weeks. The RNG doesn't remember past outcomes. It generates random results continuously. The counter accepts that slot outcomes are random and the house always wins long term. If you play, do it for entertainment with money you can afford to lose. Not because you think you've identified a pattern that thousands of mathematicians couldn't find. 7. Comping points and players' cards. They track everything and use it against you. You sign up for a player's card. They tell you you'll earn comp points, free rooms, free meals, free show tickets. What they don't tell you is the card tracks every bet you make, how long you play, how much you lose, and builds a psychological profile to maximize how much money they can extract from you. Data analytics. Casinos use player tracking systems that record your betting patterns, win/ratios, game preferences, and time spent gambling. They analyze this data to determine your pain point, the amount you can lose before you quit, and compute just enough to keep you playing until you reach it. What dealers say, I'd see players get comped rooms after losing $2,000. They'd be excited about the free $200 room. The casino just made $1,800. We were trained to push players' cards hard. It's free. You earn points. What I didn't tell them, the card feeds data to a system that predicts how much they'll lose based on their playing history. High rollers get invited back with offers calculated to extract maximum losses. But here's the darker mechanism. You're so close to diamond status. Special bonus points this weekend. These offers are timed to arrive exactly when data suggests you're most vulnerable to returning and losing more. Additionally, comp points are designed to keep you playing longer. You need 5,000 points for a free meal. You have 4,750 points. You're so close that you keep gambling to reach the threshold. The comp system creates artificial goals that have nothing to do with winning or losing. They're just mechanisms to extend your gambling session. The counter: don't use players' cards if you're serious about minimizing losses. The comps aren't free. You're paying for them with tracked data that's used to manipulate you into losing more. If you do use one, set firm loss limits that have nothing to do with comp points. 8. Dealer uniforms and scripts. They're trained to be your friend. Not actually be your friend. Your dealer is friendly, conversational, and seems genuinely interested in your life. Heart, ask about your kids and celebrate when you win. You haven't. You've encountered a trained psychological operative whose job is to keep you comfortable while you lose money. Social bonding reduces the psychological pain of losing. A 2015 study found that gamblers who felt personal connection to dealers played 40% longer than those who didn't. The friendly interaction makes the environment feel safe and social rather than extractive. You're not losing money. You're hanging out with your friend who deals cards. What dealers say? We had scripts. Literally scripts for different player types. High rollers got one approach. Tourists got another. Management trained us in relationship building. Learn their names. Remember personal details from previous visits. Make them feel special. It wasn't friendship. It was a technique to increase table time. I liked some players genuinely, but I was trained to fake friendship with everyone because it increased revenue. But here's the manipulation. Dealers are trained to celebrate your wins enthusiastically and minimize your losses subtly. You win $100. Nice hit. You're on a roll. You lose $500. Ah, tough beat. You'll get it back. The emotional response is calibrated to make winning feel bigger than it was and losing feel smaller than it was. This asymmetric reinforcement keeps you playing through losses. Additionally, dealers control pace. A friendly, chatty dealer slows the game down, giving you more time at the table, more hands played, more exposure to house edge. Efficient dealer speeds the game up, increasing hands per hour. Casinos train dealers to adjust pace based on player psychology, keep winning players at a slow pace so they don't leave, speed up losing players so they play more hands and lose more before quitting. The counter: be polite, but don't confuse professional friendliness with genuine friendship. The dealer wants you to keep playing because their tips depend on it. Set your loss limit before you sit down and stick to it regardless of how friendly the dealer is. 9. Oxygen and aromatherapy. You're being literally drugged to stay alert and happy. Casinos pump slightly elevated oxygen levels through the ventilation system and diffuse pleasant scents. You feel alert, energized, and positive. You think it's just the excitement of gambling. It's actually environmental manipulation affecting your brain chemistry. A 2006 study found that casinos using scented environments saw a 45% increase in gambling revenue in scented areas versus unscented areas. The scents, typically floral or citrus, trigger positive associations and reduce stress. Slightly elevated oxygen, not dangerously high, just 1 to 2% above normal atmospheric levels, increases alertness and reduces fatigue. What dealers say? There were vents at every table pumping air that smelled vaguely like vanilla and citrus. Corporate called it ambient scenting. I worked 8-hour shifts and never got tired. Guests would play for 12 hours straight without feeling exhausted. Management knew exactly what they were doing. The scent system and oxygen enrichment were designed to keep people alert and gambling longer. But here's the biological mechanism. Elevated oxygen increases cognitive function and delays mental fatigue. Normally after 3 to 4 hours of concentrated activity, your brain needs rest. With oxygen enrichment, you can maintain focus for 6 to 8 hours without noticing degradation. This means longer gambling sessions without the natural fatigue signals that would normally tell you to stop. Pleasant scents trigger dopamine release in your brain's olfactory bulb. You associate the environment with positive feelings even when you're losing money. The scent literally makes you feel better about being there, reducing the negative emotion that would normally make you leave after losses. The counter-awareness is the defense. Know that you're being environmentally manipulated. Set strict time limits independent of how you feel. If you plan to play for 2 hours, leave after 2 hours, even if you feel energized and alert. That energy is artificial. Why are casinos designed to make you lose? Here's what every former dealer will tell you. Casinos are not entertainment venues that happen to have gambling. They're money extraction machines disguised as entertainment venues. Every design choice, every policy, every training manual for staff, it all exists to maximize the amount of money you lose while minimizing your awareness that you're losing. The no clocks, no windows design removes time awareness. Free alcohol impairs judgment. Chips abstract money. Near misses hijack your reward system. Maze layouts trap you inside. Hot machine myths exploit statistical illiteracy. Players' cards track and manipulate you. Dealers build fake relationships. Oxygen and scent keep you alert and happy while you lose. It's not one trick. It's a system. 9 interlocking psychological tactics creating an environment where losing feels okay. Kim disappears, and you keep playing long after you should have quit. And it works. $261 billion per year proves it works. The only winning move is understanding the game isn't about winning. It's about extracting money from you as efficiently as possible while making you enjoy the process. Every single thing in that building is engineered for that purpose. Former dealers know this because they were trained to execute it. Now you know it too.